doing that, while you're making your wool really nice and open and thin so you can see through it, look out for little white lumps like that. Those are second cuts, and so you don't want them to be in, you probably don't want them to be in your yarn. If you want to have them later on dyed a different color, that's another story. So, but I want you to really concentrate on preparing your fluff so that it's really, really, really open and really sheer. Ideally, you would be able to see completely through it so that you know how much fiber is there and what's in there besides fiber. If there are more of those little second cuts, if there are sticks or bugs, there shouldn't be any bugs, or anything else that you don't want in there. You just want this to be super, super thin. We put flash in it this morning. So I'm going to set this down here on the tray, and I'm not going to put my hands any closer to that than I have to. I'm going to put my non-working hand right here on the corner, which sort of steadies me and keeps me from doing something stupid, even though I've had a tetanus shot. I might faint. Do any of you faint at the sight of blood? Do we have to worry about any of you? Oh, that's good. Where's Carolyn? She said she fainted. She's not here. Okay, once it has gone in and on the drum, stop turning the handle. You don't do anything except keep turning the handle and time passes. Most drum carders will process roughly 2 ounces of fiber. We had 1.4 ounces of fiber on the carder this morning, and the bat was about that thick when it got off. So I don't know that with the really lofty ones like this, I don't know that they would take that, the whole 2 ounces. It's kind of fun to put other things in like flash, and some of them don't take up as well. So you can make a little mini sandwich, one very thin layer of wool, some silk, for instance. Silk is kind of hard to deal with. So another thin layer of wool on top of the layer of silk. Make sure that it's really sheer and run it all through together. This is the knuckle saving bat doffer. And on the drum there's a little narrow strip that is like a flat, it's where the seam is in the rubber thing. And so what I'm going to do is stay in that little area, and I'm going to go about 1 inch in at a time and lift the fibers off toward the same direction that the little teeth are bent, so that they just come off really nice. And we save this for later. And I hope you're going to take this blue nylon stuff because it's really in my way. So to take it off, these teeth are really nice. They're fine. These are suitable for fine and medium fine wools, so they're close together. And you sometimes have to help the fibers come off. And you have to get your whole body involved, because I usually put the handle against my hip. If I'm going to continue to card this, I don't worry too much about the ones that I'm leaving behind, because I know that I have opportunities to remove them again. So there's my little bat. Oh, how pretty. And you can still see the colors. You can also see that they're not particularly all finished. There's some blips in there that are really not very well carded. So when you're spinning from the bat, or when you're going to continue to when you're going to run this through again, you have a couple of options. You can take it apart basically the same way you put it together. Take the layers apart this way, and they'll go back in, and you'll kind of get this same color arrangement. I think that Susan probably had these decisions to make. You can also take it apart in narrow strips this way. You still have to make it thin. So you have to continue to make this piece thin so that you can put it through and you can see through it.
Now, why are you putting it through again?
I want it to be a little bit smoother. I want this to not be there. I would really love to keep the colors separated, but that's, in this case, it's just not going to happen. They're too close in value, and so they really just don't show as being very different. So I'm going to run this back through. The flash on top of that thin layer, and I'm going to put another thin layer on top of the flash. just to help it go through. One of the things that happens when you card, more when you card than when you comb fibers, is they're stuck on these little bitty teeth, and they're pulled out and stretched out until they're straight, and when they pull loose from the teeth, they're stretched, and so they can wind back up. Sometimes they just relax and go back into their little crimpy state. Sometimes they roll back up. So if you go real fast, sometimes you get what's called neps, N-E-P-S, and those are just little snarls of the fibers. Where are you guys coming from? This still has quite a few neps in it, and I'm going to leave them, and I'm going to pretend that I intended to, so that for those of you who want to come up and help process the wool that we dyed last week, and then take some home and dye it, and spin it, or spin it in class, it will be yours. When you watch people on YouTube or any of those places, there's so much out there. You will see lots of different ways of drum carding. I think virtually everybody who teaches drum carding has their own way of doing it. And one of the gals in the morning class has recently taken a class with Judith McKenzie. And Judith has really strong opinions, and some of them I think are different. Certainly I think my opinions are different than hers in some cases. And we were talking about, my student was concerned that we contradict each other as teachers. And I said, no, what we do is offer you many options. So I'm offering you my option, and there are lots more. And as you practice things, you'll decide, okay, I want to do this, or I don't want to do this. I want to spin top. I don't want to spin a fluffy bat. And it's cool because we have these choices. When you're going to store these, if you're doing a project and you're going to put these all away, I'm going to suggest that you just gently roll one end, and then roll up the whole thing from the other end. And I will show you why. You get this nice, readily findable end. If you are very careful and you smooth it all together, and then you put it away, you can't find the end. So it's really cool just to do that. It's kind of a clamshell effect, and it's so pretty, and you can see there's still some colors in there. It's also very, very warm, just like that.